It all starts with a decision that feels completely harmless. A backyard chicken coop, a few hens, a 50-pound bag of feed, tossed into your trunk, and in that moment, you feel right, like you are becoming more independent, more self-sufficient. But that illusion doesn't last long. A few months later, things start to feel off. The same bag of feed keeps going up in price again and again. Not a single jump, but a slow squeeze like pressure tightening around your hands. A few cents here turns into a full dollar of stress there. And then it gets worse. You start noticing the feed is disappearing faster too. Your chickens change as well. Their feathers don't shine like they used to. Egg production becomes inconsistent. Some days more, some days barely anything at all. You stand there in front of the coop scoop in hand, subconsciously doing the math. A thought quietly slips in that you don't even want to admit. You ask yourself if this system is actually stable. But most people don't question the system first. They question themselves. They question themselves. No eggs, your fault. Lower production, your fault. Birds not thriving. You didn't manage them right. But the truth is far harsher than that. You're not failing. You're being asked to perform normally inside a system that was never stable to begin with. Your chickens aren't just eating feed. They're tied into a chain you can't see. Trucking routes, fuel prices, grain markets, extreme weather. Supply chain swings, inflation. Any weak link in that chain shows up directly in your backyard. What you thought was food security is actually another monthly bill that keeps creeping upward. And the irony is most people never realize where the problem actually is. They blame themselves. No eggs, your fault. Lower production, your fault. Birds not thriving, you didn't manage them right. But often the real issue is this. You were handed a system that turns animals into consumers of industrial feed, and then pushes the responsibility for the results back onto you. Look closely at what you're buying. Complete feed, scientifically balanced, nutritionally optimized. It all sounds perfect, but when performance drops, there are no alarms. No warnings, just subtle changes you slowly start to notice. Chickens get sluggish, eggs get smaller, shells get thinner. Production starts swinging for no clear reason. So most people, do you keep buying more expensive feed, hoping it fixes everything? But the problem was never on the label. The problem is that you're trying to build a stable living system, using a volatile industrial one. And convenience is the entry point to all of it. Just open the bag, pour it in, and you're done. Simple, efficient, looks harmless, but the cost is happening quietly, in the background. Your chickens are slowly losing the way they were meant to live. They weren't evolved to thrive on pellets. They're foragers, scratching soil, hunting insects, pecking seeds, constantly moving through their environment. The moment you turn them into industrial feed processors, you also start changing what they are, and then you wonder why they aren't as healthy as expected. Why aren't they as healthy as expected? Why is backyard chicken keeping getting more expensive? Why does everything feel like it is slowly slipping out of control? But it doesn't stop with chickens. You see the same pattern in the garden. Perfect seedlings from the nursery that die shortly after transplanting. A heat wave turns soil into concrete. Lettuce suddenly bolts, prices swing without logic. And you begin to realize an uncomfortable truth. The modern food system only looks stable when nothing goes wrong. The moment something breaks, all its fragility shows at once. And the hardest truth to accept is this. We were taught to trade buying for independence. Buy the coop, buy the chickens, buy the feeder, buy supplements, buy better feed, then more expensive feed, then emergency feed. But if your so-called self-sufficiency depends on trucking routes, commodity markets, and pricing systems, then it was never truly independent. And once you see that just outsourced survival, a lot of things suddenly make sense. Why does raising chickens keep getting more expensive? Why do backyard projects turn into ongoing payment systems? Why do so many people start with excitement only to quietly give up later? It is not laziness. It is not that they're not capable. It is because they were taught to build a life system on top of a system. A consumption system was never designed to guarantee stability. It only needs to keep moving just stable enough for you to trust it, and just fragile enough for you to keep paying for it. You don't feel the full cost when you buy the feed. You feel it later on, the day the weather turns prices spike. The chickens weaken, and your backup plan turns out to be part of the system. So if you've ever stood there by the feed bin, with a quiet sense of doubt, if you've ever wondered why your flock doesn't seem as healthy, if you've started to feel like the backyard isn't giving you freedom, but building dependence instead, trust that feeling. It is not anxiety. It is awareness. You didn't fail, you just saw the system for what it really is. For the first time, the question changes. It becomes, why is this bag of feed the center of the entire system? And that's where the real answer begins. Because in a world this unstable, growing your own food was never about escaping reality. It's about finally seeing it clearly for the first time.